Hello Tacticians, it's Nox here, and today we're going to be looking at the latest survival mission to come to Tacticus, and this time featuring Red Gobbo. And unfortunately he won't be the character we will be collecting, and instead we'll be collecting shards for the Parasite of Mortrax. As always, thank you to everyone who supports the channel, whether it's through subscribing or use my friend code, as it really does help me out. So as with all the other survival missions, the point is, play the missions, you get the event points, which will get you the stick bombs. The stick bombs are then used to open up your crates, and the crates will reward you with the shards of the Parasite of Mortrax, and you need 250 to unlock him. So if you're lucky, you might be able to unlock it between this and the Battle Pass, if you've decided not to purchase any of the bundles. But I think you'd have to do very well with your characters to get that far. Haven't done the maths. I'm sure someone out there has, though. So what waves will we be facing against? Well, it's going to be the orcs. I'm going to start off against the humble grots, and don't take these for granted. They will start spawning in more if you leave them alone, so kill them while you have the chance. And the squigs, I'm sure you've seen already, and it would be better to shoot them rather than to attack them in combat because of that bounce ability, which really does ruin with positioning. The one thing I should point out is this rarity increase, and I've seen people complaining about it in the previous survivals, so I thought I'd make a point of it here. As soon as you complete everything in wave 3, all your characters, no matter what their current gear is, will go from the common rarity, which you start at in wave 1, and they'll move up to the uncommon, bronze. And it doesn't matter if there are enemies still from wave 1 and wave 2 still there. As long as all the ones in wave 3 are destroyed, you will go up to the next level. And of course you get awarded points, which then goes into opening your crates. Then as the waves go on, you come across more grots, the grot tanks, and then we'll start coming across orcs. And as we go on, the ones we're going to have to watch out for are the Storm Boys. They are going to appear pretty much wherever they want, but there is that chance they'll just fly off and kill themselves as well. And finally, when you defeat Wave 10, you'll be promoted up to Diamond. So at this point, your characters will be able to use at Diamond 3. So this is where you really want to get to really get into that end game. And it is wave 11 that you want to complete, and it's only 10 enemies you need to kill, and that's going to get you those all-important 3 Codexes of War. Now, as I mentioned, this is going to be taking place over 2 weeks, so if you can get these Codexes of War for each time that you are able to play the missions, you're really going to start getting a lot of those codexes, which will help level your characters up. But for those of you who really want to push it, then obviously your diamond characters will be going up against 12 of these diamond 3 large squigs in the last wave. And before that, you're looking at the characters from the orc roster. One thing to note is with the power-ups that you get from this, they've removed the power-up that resets your active ability. The only person who can do that is the Red Gobbo himself. So best of luck, and I hope you get as far as you possibly can during this mission. But now, let's have a look. So here we are on the first turn. All the grots have stormed in. And before I start playing, let's have a look at the Red Gobbo himself. Now, orc fans rejoice, he does count as an orc. However, I'm sorry to say he is not a collectible character, and I don't think he ever will be, as this character is treated as a special character for a certain time of year. He is also resilient, meaning if he takes lethal damage and is not already at 1 health, he will go down to 1 health instead of dying, unless he is overkilled. And finally, when he does die, he will explode, which might get you a few extra points at the end of the game. His active ability are Explosive Presence, which deals blast damage to an enemy unit or friendly grot with a range of 2 and all adjacent units to the target. And this ability can be used multiple times per battle but has a cooldown of 10 rounds. This cooldown is reduced by 1 whenever a grot is defeated. So if I was to target this one here and all 3 die, there'd be 7 more rounds to go before I could use it again. His passive is Da Revolution. Whenever an adjacent unit is defeated, the Red Gobbo summons a grot in its hex, unless the defeated unit was also a grot. The summoned grot can immediately attack an adjacent enemy. Whenever a friendly grot is defeated anywhere on the battlefield, it will then explode and deals blast damage to all adjacent grots and all adjacent enemies. So what this will mean is if you end up with a lot of grots which are yours on the battlefield and 1 dies, you could end up with a rather impressive chain reaction. But enough about those abilities, let's play the game. So indeed, I am going to start by throwing at this guy, killing 3. We're not going to bring in the Alpha Warrior just yet, and we're going to just kill one of these guys. And indeed, it looks like we can kill them all off. Now, I've got a choice here. I could quite happily leave everyone where they are, and I might actually do that and trigger the next wave, which means it'll go straight into wave 2 and I'll get 800 points. If I was to wait for the next turn, I'll only get 400 points, but I think I'm in a fairly good position, and so I'll trigger it now. We'll start by killing those that we can kill. Future knocks here. I've just paused the game to show that Red Gobbo has a cooldown of 1 left on his active ability there. So if we killed one more Gretchen, we would be able to use that ability again, remembering that we killed a few grots and skipped a few turns in the meantime. Back to the game. And we are going to make sure to bring in one of our little friends. And as there are more squigs up here, we'll summon in another. And we'll move Aleph Null up, probably to heal Rayvas next turn. Now the important thing to note here, this is at the end of wave 3 and wave 4 will soon be triggered. I have to make sure that all of the enemy are killed before wave 4 is triggered, as wave 4 will be at uncommon and bronze. And at the moment, my characters are only common and iron level. So, very important to kill them all before that wave begins. Now that we have gone up, we've got that same choice. We can either trigger again now, or I think what I might do is actually get the Red Gobbo to come down here, as he needs a bit of healing. So if you have Holland geared up, he might actually be a good character to bring in, just to keep the Red Gobbo topped up on health. But you know what, let's live dangerously and summon the next wave. Finally, the Red Gobbo can heal himself up. We'll start on this one. We want as many summons in as possible. I've mentioned this before. The fact that the summons distract the enemy is very useful indeed, and it really does enable you to keep everyone alive. And now we've got a hits power up, and we have to decide who's best to pick that up. Obviously, the Red Gobbo would be a good candidate, but I'm wondering if I should pick it up on Rayvas, the Neothrope, or the Wing Prime. At the moment, no one can actually get there, so I'm going to just bring Aleph Null down. And there was a wonderful chain reaction. It's just a shame there was no enemies that got killed. So let's start again. Red Gobbo starts killing people. This is a hard choice. I'm not sure who to give the hits power up to. Problem with the Neothrope, I think it would die far too easily, so I don't think he's going to pick it up. Or it, I should say. I think Aleph Null might be a good candidate. And we are just before wave 6, and thankfully there's only 2 more Gobbos left, which I might actually be able to kill just by dropping the Winged Prime on this. And then we'll send the Neothrope to get the next reinforcement. So as you can see, the Red Gobbo is getting a bit of a beating at the moment, and he needs to come down to get cured up again. So I guess we'll start by killing an Orc. 2 fleas there, and because they were next to the Red Gobbo, we got 2 grots coming in, which then enables him to come down. And the Red Gobbo will get healed up again, and we'll just pick up everything that we can and finish off that wave. And I think this armor power up is actually going to be very good for Red Gobbo as well, so we're now going to try and get him over there. You know what, let's just do it on the Prime. let's get rid of another of these tanks. Those explosive gobbos came in use, killing the 2 squigs up there. Let's see if we can kill these. There's 1 down. The Red Gobbo will kill this guy. We should be able to finish this one off as well. And pick up the reinforcement. Now, if you're feeling nervous and you're starting to lose, you could use any active abilities you've got. Bear in mind, though, you only can use each active ability once, unless, of course, it's the Red Gobbos. Now, the Neothrope is getting low on health, and I think I'll use his Spirit Leech just to heal up just that little bit. And here, I think, is a great use of using his grenade to kill a bunch. And finally, this one. So if we look at the explosive presence again, it is now available. These tanks really do cause a bit of an issue with how tough they actually are. But my summons are doing a grand job at keeping the enemy distracted. And I think this time the Neothrope's going to try and grab that health power up. And as fortune would have it, it nudged the Neothrope onto the health power, but then he gets attacked by 2 squigs. Unfortunately, he then dies. Never mind. Let's bring in one of my better characters, Morgan Ra. Not sure how long he's going to survive, but he should certainly put out a decent amount of damage. Rayvas really starting to struggle to put out the damage now. And in fact, Morgan Ra looks like it was the wrong choice to make after taking that huge amount of damage from 1 squig. And again, we're at a very important turn. This will mean that my Morgan Ra, currently a gold 1, as long as I kill all these, he'll then jump up to diamond 3, which is a huge improvement. So let's see if we can do just that. Nearly killed him in the process. Thanks a lot, Red Gobbo. And this is actually really bad news. I'm going to have to bring in the drones here. And hopefully, and I do mean hopefully, we'll be able to sustain the diamonds as they come in. Although, because they move, we got diamond first, which should help keep everyone alive. I got very lucky there. We really need to get the Red Gobbo down to this health power up. And now everyone's at max, I can actually bring in the Alpha Warrior to hopefully help us in the future. So there you can see Morgan Ra's on diamond 3. We'll pick up the melee hits with Aleph Null. We really need that for Morgan Ra. We'll heal up, and we'll... Can't quite get there, unfortunately. How can we kill him? I guess Morgan Ra is just going to have to die. So sometimes if you're trying to get somewhere, just hit a squig first and they'll bounce off, which would then left the path clear for me to heal up Morgan Ra, but then he dies. So now I'll bring in Show Sil. Hopefully some of his drones can help him survive a little bit longer. And I could have actually targeted the grot itself to blow up that tank. Never mind. They did it for me. And now in start coming the Orc special characters. And as you can see, I've finished Wave 11, which means I've guaranteed myself those 3 books. And again, a nice little example here. Aleph Null died, and because it was a death next to the Red Gobbo, we got a grot in, which is a nice little bonus to have. But the problem we've got is these characters coming in at a diamond. As you can see, I don't have many decent characters left here. So let's choose Eldrin. Hopefully that will help me out in some respect. And we're going to send the Red Gobbo up and launch one of his parcels here. Not quite killing him. Let's kill him with this. Eldrin will just come up here and kill another. A damage power-up. Now, I know exactly who needs that, and that's Rayvas. There's no chance that Rayvas will do much damage. Oh my goodness, Shosil dies in the first turn without that damage improvement. And we will really want to kill him. But I think taking out 3 might be the better choice. And again, we need a really nice health power. And that squig just picked up the damage. That was really unfortunate. But never mind. Right. Let's make sure Boss Golgorts doesn't cause any major issues. Which, let's be honest, he will, given half the chance. And the other one... wow, Tank Smasher really taking a hit and not caring about it at all. And I'll be surprised if I even get to wave 15 now. I think we're going to have to do this. Killing Rayvas. I should have moved him away first. Don't do that. Well, as first attempts for this particular survival mode goes, I don't think that was too bad. Didn't quite get to wave 15, which I was hoping to do, but my characters, really for the Xenos, are a bit lacking. One thing I did notice is the snipers and psychers are going to be very vulnerable in those early stages, and you're probably only going to want to bring those in once you get to Diamond, assuming of course they are Diamond or higher themselves. The other thing, of course, is that randomness of those squigs. One of them picking up that damage power up near the end as it died was a little bit infuriating, and I can imagine if that happened earlier and it was picking up a heal for the Red Gobbo earlier, could mean your run ends earlier than you really want it to. As it all goes, this was a fun new one, and I certainly hope we see him return next December. If you like these videos, then it would be much appreciated if you at least think about using my friend code, as it really does help me out. Or if you or your guilds are looking for a new home, please reach out to any of the guilds shown, as we'll always welcome new people into our midst. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the battlefield.